Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Daily Buzz. I'm Jane, and as always, I'm super excited to be here with my co-host, Tom.
Hey, everyone. Great to be back with you, Jane. How's your week been so far?
It's been great, actually. I've been feeling a bit more energized lately. Maybe it's the beautiful weather we're having here in Hawaii. What about you? Anything exciting happening?
Oh, definitely. I actually started trying out a new hobby this week. It's something I've always wanted to do, but never really got around to it.
Ooh, now you've piqued my interest. What is it? Tell us all about it.
So I've started learning how to play the ukulele.
No way! That's fantastic! I love the sound of the ukulele. It's so cheerful and relaxing. What made you decide to pick up the ukulele specifically?
Well, I've always been drawn to stringed instruments, but a guitar felt a bit too intimidating to start with. The ukulele seems more beginner-friendly, and it's portable, which is a big plus. Plus, I saw some amazing ukulele covers on YouTube, and it just inspired me.
That makes perfect sense. How's it going so far? Are you picking it up quickly?
It's definitely a learning curve. My fingers are a bit sore from pressing the strings, but I'm slowly getting the hang of basic chords. I've been watching a lot of online tutorials, and it's surprisingly fun. What about you, Jane? Have you tried any new hobbies recently, or is there anything you've been thinking about getting into?
Funny you ask. I've been really interested in baking sourdough bread. It seems like such a rewarding process, from nurturing the sourdough starter to getting that perfect crispy crust. I've watched countless videos, but I haven't actually taken the plunge yet.
Ooh, sourdough. That's a serious commitment, isn't it? I hear the starter needs a lot of attention. What's holding you back from starting?
Honestly, it's the time commitment and the fear of failure. I'm worried I'll invest all that time and then end up with a brick instead of a delicious loaf of bread. But seeing you brave enough to try the ukulele is making me rethink my hesitation.
You should definitely go for it. Even if your first loaf isn't perfect, it's all part of the learning process. And speaking of learning, how do you usually approach learning something new? Do you prefer online courses, books, or maybe finding a local class?
That's a great question. For me, it really depends on the skill. For something hands-on like sourdough, I think a combination of online videos and maybe a good cookbook would be ideal. I'm a visual learner. For something more theoretical, I might lean towards podcasts or online articles. What about you?
I'm definitely a fan of online tutorials, especially YouTube. Seeing someone demonstrate the steps is invaluable. And for the ukulele, there are so many free resources out there, which is fantastic.
Absolutely. It's amazing how much free information is available online these days. It really democratizes learning.
So, Jane, we've talked about starting new hobbies. But what about the challenge of staying motivated? Because let's be honest, that initial enthusiasm can sometimes fade, right?
Oh, absolutely. That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? For me, one of the biggest motivators is seeing small, consistent progress. With the ukulele, Tom, how do you plan to keep yourself going, especially when you hit a plateau or feel discouraged?
That's a really important point. My strategy is to set small, achievable goals. Instead of aiming to play a complex song right away, I'm focusing on mastering one new chord each day or practicing for just 15 minutes. And when I achieve that, it feels like a small victory. How about you? How do you push through those moments when motivation is low?
That's a great strategy. For me, it's about remembering my why. Why did I start this in the first place? For sourdough, it's the joy of creating something from scratch and sharing it with loved ones. Another thing that helps is having a support system or a community. If I were doing sourdough,
Maybe joining an online baking group to share tips and get encouragement.
That's so true. The community aspect is huge. And it's not just for hobbies. It applies to fitness goals, learning a new language, anything really. What are some common pitfalls people fall into when trying to stay motivated, in your opinion?
I think one common pitfall is setting unrealistic expectations. People often try to do too much too soon and then get overwhelmed and give up. Another one is comparing yourself to others. It's easy to look at someone who's an expert and feel like you'll never get there, which can be really demotivating.
I totally agree with both of those. It's so important to focus on your own journey. And don't forget the power of celebrating small wins. Even if it's just practicing for 5 minutes when you really didn't feel like it, that's a win.
Exactly. And also understanding that motivation isn't a constant state. There will be days when you feel on top of the world and days when you just want to curl up on the couch. It's about building habits and discipline, even on those low motivation days.
That's a great point. It's about showing up consistently, and sometimes just showing up is half the battle.
All right, so before we wrap up today, we've had a few listeners send in some questions about staying motivated and finding new interests. Let's tackle a couple of those.
Sounds good. Let's hear them.
Okay, first question from our listener, Anna, from Chiang Mai. I'm struggling to find a hobby that I actually enjoy and stick with. Any tips on how to discover what truly interests me?
That's a fantastic question, Anna. My advice would be to try a variety of things without putting too much pressure on yourself. Think about what you enjoyed as a child or what activities make you lose track of time. Go to a workshop, watch some documentaries, or even just browse Pinterest for ideas. Don't be afraid to experiment.
Great advice, Tom. And to add to that, sometimes our interests evolve. What you enjoyed 5 years ago might not be what you enjoy now. So be open to new possibilities. All right, next question from our listener, Mark in Phuket. I get really excited about new projects, but then I lose interest quickly. How can I build better self-discipline?
That's a common challenge, Mark. Building self-discipline is a muscle. Start small. Try the 5-minute rule. If you don't feel like doing something, just commit to doing it for 5 minutes. Often, once you start, you'll find the momentum to continue. Also, try to eliminate distractions when you're working on your project.
And for Mark, I'd also say, try to break your project down into smaller, manageable steps. Sometimes the sheer size of a project can be overwhelming. Seeing those smaller steps checked off can give you a boost of motivation. And remember, it's okay to take breaks and come back to it.
Excellent points, Jane. It's all about finding what works for you and being kind to yourself through the process.
Absolutely. And that brings us to the end of another insightful episode of the Daily Buzz. Tom, thank you so much for sharing your ukulele journey and your valuable insights on motivation.
It was a pleasure, Jane. Thanks for having me and for the great conversation.
And thank you, our wonderful listeners, for tuning in. We hope you found today's discussion inspiring and helpful, whether you're starting a new hobby or trying to stay motivated with an existing one.
Remember, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep buzzing with enthusiasm.
Don't forget to follow us on social media for updates and behind-the-scenes content. You can find us at YouTube English Buddy.
And if you have any questions or topics you'd like us to cover in future episodes, please send them our way. We love hearing from you.
Until next time, stay curious, stay motivated, and we'll talk to you soon.
Bye for now.